This week we're going to be creating our own SGN posters. And I'm super excited about this because I love the SGN sign and it allows us to get really creative with our ideas. When you're making your SGN poster, I want you to think back to all the projects we've done throughout the entire year. If you can't think all the way back to the beginning of the year, then think about since we've been in distance learning. We've done some Alma Thomas collage artworks. We created animals out of shapes. We drew pictures like Paul Klee. We learned about how to create skyscrapers or roller coasters using perspective. We've even learned how to make beads that you could add to your SGN sign if you wanted to have some 3D collage elements to it. Really get creative. Here is the paper that I'm going to use. This is a large white piece of paper. Now when you look at it, you can see it kind of looks like a mess. A lot of you guys would not appreciate it if I gave you a piece of paper that looked like this. But I really like this and I think it's going to add a really cool look to my SGN poster. The first step is going to be drawing our letters. I want you to remember, draw light until you got it right. Draw light until you got it right. I'm going to start out by using an HB pencil, which is just a regular pencil like you would have at home. And I'm going to write SGN large in capital letters. SGN. Now I didn't do anything fancy yet. This is just the first step. I noticed that my S is a little bit lower than my G and my N, but all my letters line up pretty well at the top. So I'm going to make my G a little bigger. I'm not doing any erasing. I'm going to extend the letter N a little bit more. And now I kind of have nicely drawn letters. Anything you want to fix, you could fix now. I could take an eraser and erase off my lines, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to add a lot of color. I might even add collage. So a lot of things are going to disappear by the time I finish my artwork. Now, what I'm going to try to do is trace a line around each one of my letters, turning it into a bubble. Later, I can straighten my corners of the bubble if I want a block letter, or keep them rounded if I want a bubble letter. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to keep an equal distance between the line that I've already drawn and the current line I'm drawing now. I even try to keep that distance from the edge there and the same distance when I get to the back side. It's not perfect, but going pretty well. Now I've drawn my S. Like I said, if I want to turn this into a block letter, I could just straighten out these corners. If I decided I wanted to make the S wider, I could make the S wider as well. However you want to make your letter, you can do that. You could add fancy parts off the top of the S, like some people add an extra block or rectangle to the top. You could add a spiral coming off of it. However fancy you want to make yours. You could turn it into a dragon or a snake. You could get really creative. Okay, let's do that with the G and then the N. Now I've created my letters S, G, and N. So it's time for me to start to get a little bit more creative. Before I do that, I want to clean some stuff up. So I'm going to use a Sharpie and I'm going to trace the edges of my letters exactly where I want them to be, and then I can erase out any pencil lines I don't want. Now I have my letters drawn and traced. So one thing I forgot to mention is, what if you don't have a large piece of paper like the one I'm using? That's totally fine. All you need to do is tape some paper together. So here I've taped 4 pieces of paper together. The tape is on the back, and you can see now I have a really nice large piece of paper that I can work on. You don't even need to have all white paper. You could tape together colored paper, construction paper, you could tape together notebook paper or loose leaf paper. Anything that you have at home that you could create a large piece of paper would work excellently.